So in 1697, some Congregationalists in Massachusetts sailed down and created a town, Colonial, Dorchester. And that was way back. It was a boom town in the 1700s. They built all kinds of structures. There was over 500 people that lived here. And this is what is left. Basically, late 1700s, it was abandoned. And nothing was done in this property really until the 1960s, when people started excavating it, or people actually said, oh, hey, there was something here. So the history is quite amazing. What's left is stuff like this, which is what's left of the church. I guess this is the old bell tower. Look at this thing. That is really awesome. So anyway, yes, I am in South Carolina, doing some traveling around South Carolina and North Carolina. And I wanted to come here. I'm not far from Charleston. I ended up talking to a historian and an archaeologist. They do a lot of archaeology here, and they've found all kinds of interesting things. For instance, this is the church cemetery. Some of these are very easy to decipher. The information is here through records, diaries, letters. They are able to find different families that lived here. Recently, they did a ground penetrating scan, and they found about 100 things in the ground that they think are probably skeletal remains. So I don't know what will happen with that. I don't know if they're going to do any excavating in this area, but I think it's safe to assume that there are at least 100 people who are actually buried here, kind of all around the church. My guess is just this is the back side of the church, and it kind of came all the way out to here. Yeah, there's a plaque here that says the Bell Tower of St. George's. Angry with the Anglican Church, the Puritan Pilgrims left England in 1620. Their descendants, known as the Congregationalists, founded Dorchester in the 1690s, only to endure South Carolina's 1706 declaration of Anglicanism as the colony's official church. How ironic. With the Congregationalists worshipping 2 miles away, St. George's Anglican Church was built here in the center of Dorchester. Upon completion in 1720, the sanctuary measured 50 feet by 30 feet. This bell tower with 4 bells was added in 1751. The town they created here along the Ashley River served as a center of trade for 100 years, only to be abandoned after the Revolutionary War. The colonists acquired over 4,000 acres of land along the north side of the Ashley River, and they named it Dorchester, after the town in Massachusetts that they had left behind. The land was divided to create New England-style township with farm lots, commons, a mill site, and a major place of trade. Look at this, it shows you kind of what the market looked like. This is a 1742 map of all the different stores. I don't even know if you could call them stores. And this is a 18th century depiction of Dorchester, the church bell tower in the background, of course. Everybody wheeling and dealing there. A lot of the town had been destroyed during the Revolutionary War. They burned a lot of the buildings, and a lot of that stuff was basically just abandoned. I'm not so sure about the church because there are graves from the 1800s, so I'm not really sure, but it's safe to say after talking to the archaeologist and the historian that they probably, whatever was left, wood and metal and things that were used, probably even a lot of those tombstones, were taken to build other things, other people's homes nearby. And So there's not a whole lot left. Fortunately, things like the fort are still here, and the bell tower, and some of the cemetery. And when I get down to the water, I forgot to tell you this, where the pier originally was, where the ships would come in, there are 6 original, apparently they are original supports to the dock, pieces of the dock, almost 300 years old, or about 300 years old. This model was created by one of the park rangers who is very passionate about the history of this place. It's hard to see because of the reflection, but it kind of gives you an idea. This is the river, the Ashley River. This is the fort. These were all the merchant buildings and things like that. That is the what's left of the wharf, the docks. And here's the church. You can see the bell tower. So you can kind of see all around it was a town. There was a school back here behind the church, and it was quite large. About 500 people or so lived here. So it really was prosperous for a while, almost 100 years. And I'm going to show you an archaeological dig, which I think she's gone now, but I managed to take a little video of some of the stuff that they are excavating over here. So this is it here. This is where they are currently excavating. So they do their tests, and they go every few meters, and then when they find something, they'll actually do some real digging. And basically they have uncovered a huge foundation, huge for the time. I mean, there's quite a big foundation. And it's just interesting to hear the things that they had found. Like I said, she has left for the day, and she had a bag of just fragments of pottery and brick, just things like that, maybe fish scales, that kind of stuff, maybe things that they ate, bones of animals. Very interesting. And some of these sifting things are right here. It almost looks like it's, set up as a demonstration, but it is very real. In fact, right next to the current dig site here is this one. Now this has been all filled in again, covered in sand. So they could potentially reopen this if need be, but they took 3D scans of it, and I'll show you that right now. The gentleman was nice enough to show me the site where that is, and there was an entire brick floor and everything that they found, and they felt like it was more of like a kitchen, home living space. Where we're walking right now, the water is just down there, and that's where the big shipping area was, where the boats would come in. And I'll take you down there. I don't know this for sure, but I would assume that based on what they found in the ground here, they're basically showing you what the house looked like, the different rooms and things like that. Described in 1786 as a wooden house on a brick foundation. And the house belonged to the Izard family, who were prominent landowners, and they were planters, political leaders of colonial South Carolina. And this is Fort Dorchester, a brick powder magazine enclosed by a tabby wall 8 feet high, was built here in 1757. During the Revolution, Dorchester was a strategic point. In 1775, the magazine was fortified and the garrison commanded by Captain Francis Marion. British troops occupied the town in April of 1780. They were driven out by cavalry and infantry under Colonel Wade Hampton and General Nathaniel Greene on December 1st, 1781. All right, coming into the fort. The first thing you might notice is that it has oddly shaped It's not a square, it's not a star, it's not anything like that. It has very strange corners. And this was specifically designed so during some sort of defending, you could shoot out from each wall and still be protected. It's a pretty ingenious idea, and actually this was one of the first of its kind, making it a fantastic fortification from a defense perspective at least. And only this side seems to have any of the brick left. And nobody knows why there's this huge opening here. And it doesn't look like it was blown out or anything like that. It looks like it was, well, maybe it does kind of look like it was blown out. I don't know. They don't know. They don't know what happened many years later. Maybe it was to get wagons in here. Who knows? But this is still considered to be one of the best, or the best, tabby fort construction in the best condition in America. And you can see this tabby, like this concrete with the shells. And this was the powder magazine here. Yeah, these walls resemble modern concrete but are made of tabby, a coastal building material popular in the 1700s. To make tabby, oyster shells were burned to produce lime, which was combined with sand, water, and more shells. This mixture was then scooped into wood forms or tabby boxes. When that tabby hardened, the box forms were removed and reassembled atop the initial layer. This process continued until the walls reached the desired height. All right, I'm going to take you over to the merchant docks over there now, where they used to be. I'll show you what was told to me that is original. These piers, these pylons, I guess you could call them. They are original. They are from the early 1700s. Okay, so this is where the original wharf still stands, or sits, we'll say. Hard to see, but those logs that go straight out like that, and then I think there's, in the picture they showed it, there's another one that goes this way and basically creates a dock, or what was a dock at some point. Obviously it probably was higher. And okay, so check this out. The remains of two of Dorchester's wharfs are visible at low tide, and luckily we are here at low tide. You can see the surviving logs from one of the wharfs. They were built by making a framework of logs and then filling the framework with soil. So here you go. Who knows how often they replaced the wood and redid the docks, but they were using this as a wharf since 1700, probably even just before it. So it's possible that those could be 300 years old. How, I don't know. Nobody really knows. That's from the historian here. So, you know, maybe it was redone just before the town was abandoned. But even still, it's very old, and it's an amazing amount of history. So, you know, there's a lot of this kind of stuff that's still, you know, the remnants are in the woods here. You know, what was this stuff? What was here? So there you go. The tour of Colonial Dorchester, 1700s to now. Pretty amazing history. I love that kind of stuff, and it was great to be able to talk to the archaeologist and the historian and get some real insight on what happened here and history. Fascinating place. If you're ever in this area, definitely go and check it out. It's maybe an hour or so outside of Charleston. All right, see you in the next video.